What's going on, YouTube? My name is Jace. I'm the photographer. What's going on, guys? My name is Jace. I'm... Settle down, settle down. What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? My name is Jace. What's going on, YouTube? My name is Jace. You are watching the very first Driverse Media YouTube video. Today is a big step for me. This is my first ever video. I'm kind of new to this, so just bear with me, but I got a lot of stuff in store for you guys for the future. To start off, I'm going to kind of introduce myself to you. I'm an automotive photographer. If you haven't already seen my Instagram, feel free to check the description down below. But I've been doing automotive photography for about 4 months. I started photography actually about 8 months ago, and I'll kind of give you a story about that. So I'm super big into fitness and working out and everything, and during COVID, when COVID first hit, I actually just bought a camera because I was like, you know what, there's nothing to do, I'm in quarantine, so I'm just going to buy a camera. And at the time, we had a makeshift gym in my garage. I started filming like workouts in there with my iPhone, and I was like, you know what, I need a camera. So I got the camera. I started filming workouts in my garage. After that, after the gyms opened up again, I started filming YouTube videos of me working out with my friends. And then from there, it kind of moved into taking pictures of myself or having someone else take pictures of me in the gym, and I would take pictures of them. Soon after that, I started doing photo shoots for athletes, and one of the athletes that I was shooting for just happened to have a really nice car. He actually had a BMW X5, and I was like, you know what, that's a sweet car, I need to shoot that. If you guys want to go check out those pictures, it's on my Instagram page at the very bottom. It's like one of the very first posts that I ever made. They're garbage, just be warned. But anyways, after I shot his car, I was like, you know what, shooting cars is actually like super fun, and I really want to do this. So that's when I actually discovered the Car Creative on YouTube. If you guys don't know who that is, I would highly suggest looking him up. I'll leave his channel, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description below, but I would definitely recommend it, watching his videos. But anyways, I started reaching out to people on Facebook and started following like car groups and car meets, and I attended some car meets, and I got some business cards as well to hand out to the people that own cars there. And from there, I just started booking photo shoots. I was doing it for free, and sooner or later, about 4 months later, I'm out here shooting dream cars. So that's kind of a little story about how I got into photography and my little journey into where I'm at today. So with that all being said and done, I would kind of like to tell you guys about what I want this channel to be. Essentially, I would like to give you guys an insight into some tips and tricks of mine in car photography, and I would like to film some editing tutorials, which is actually what we're going to do today. I'm going to edit a photo for you guys from scratch to finish. And then I would like to eventually get into automotive videography, which that can consist of, you know, cinematic videos or some behind the scenes footage of how I go out and shoot cars. So yeah, that's kind of what I would like this channel to be about. So if you are into that sort of stuff, feel free to drop a like down below. Feel free to comment any questions you would have or you would like me to answer. And do me a favor and just share the video with a friend that you think would be interested in this kind of stuff. So now that you guys kind of understand who I am, how I got into photography, and what this channel is going to be about, I would like to start off with answering some questions that I kind of put a thing on my story on my Instagram, like a Q&A, so people could ask me some questions. So I'm going to kind of pull that up on my phone here and answer some questions live for you guys. First question is, what do you like the most in car photography? And this question is from Makisif. I don't know how you pronounce it, Makisif. I don't know. Anyways, question is, what do you like the most in car photography? I really do like meeting new people. It's always exciting to start conversations with new people, honestly. And another thing that I really like is providing quality content for either like the car owners or businesses. I've actually shot with the Porsche dealership here in my city. That was pretty cool. And then people that I've shot with and I've given the photos to, they ended up, like printing them off and putting them up in their office or in their garage or in their house. And that's always pretty sweet. So that's kind of what I enjoy the most about car photography. Next question is from Ashley Nicole. By the way, Ashley, you've been a follower since the beginning, so I really do appreciate you. Thank you for sticking with me and showing constant support. I really do appreciate it. Your question is, what's been your favorite car to shoot so far and why? So my favorite car to date that I've shot was the blue. I'm not sure what the actual color of or name of the color is, but it was the blue Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. And the reason why that was my favorite car to shoot is just because of how the final photos actually like turned out. And I was like, you know what? These photos are stunning. At least to me, it was stunning at the time. And I'm like, you know what? This is like an awesome, beautiful car. And the photos are just mint. I'm talking like mint. At the time, it seemed like it was mint to me. And I was like, you know what? This is something that I really want to do. And that was kind of my favorite car to shoot. I'm sorry to all the other people that I've shot with. Your cars are amazing as well. But that was the car that really got me like, got my fire starting. This next question is from mke.az. What's up, man? Hey, how's it going? I actually did a photo shoot with him with his Audi. If you want to go check out those photos, they're also on my Instagram. So his question is, what keeps you so motivated? Oh, wow, that is a hard question. Honestly, to be like completely honest, I'm not always motivated. I think I'm just really well disciplined, and and I don't really allow myself to fall back, and I know that this is something that I really, really want to do, and I know that nobody else is going to do it for me. I'm going to do it for myself. There's a quote that I really like, and it's actually written on my board over there. It says, "Know that it is you that will get you where you want to go, no one else." And I'm a firm believer in that, and I guess that's what keeps me so motivated, is that I just need to do this for myself, and I know nobody else is going to help me get there. So I guess that's why I'm so motivated all the time, is that, nobody else is going to do it for me, so might as well do it myself. All right, the next question is from Alex, the car creative. This just blows my mind that you're even asking me a question and responding to my Q&As here on Instagram. So I appreciate you, Alex. Thank you for everything you've showed me with editing tutorials and all that stuff. You really did help me in my path, so I appreciate you. Your question is, when will you know that you have made it? What will that moment be? This is a live Q&A. I haven't even given much thought to any of these questions. When will you know that you have made it? I think I'll know that I have made it once I start shooting around the world, I guess. I would really like to travel around the world and shoot supercars or cars in general and get paid for it and make a living off of it. I think that'll be like the defining moment once I'm securing a good income with traveling the world and shooting cars. I think that'll be awesome, and I think that'll be the moment when I'm like, you know what, I made it. Like, that would be awesome. So I'm sure that answers your question, and thank you, Alex, for popping in on here. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for showing me literally everything I needed to know about car photography. So this next question is from Dylan R. Thompson. What's up, Dylan? Good seeing you. Good to hear from you as well. Thanks for asking this question. How do you find so many people that want to shoot their cars? When I first started shooting cars, it was actually like I said earlier in the video, It was the fitness client that I shot for. He had a nice car, and so I started shooting his. And then I actually shot my brother's truck, and then I shot my car as well. And then I was involved in some Facebook groups, and I actually I put out like a mass message of like, hey, anyone wants their car photos done, let me know. I'm gonna set up like a free meet and greet type thing, and we're gonna get some car photos done. So I scheduled that, and about 20 cars pulled up, and it was just like, it was awesome to see that many people actually interested in getting some photos done. And so I got them all each their photos, and from there it's kind of like I met new people. I started talking with them, handing out business cards, meeting people on Instagram, finding them on Instagram, joining multiple Facebook groups, and just kind of networking myself and getting my name out there. And then sooner or later, I'm having photo shoots every single weekend, so it's been great so far. So that's how I've been able to find so many cars to shoot. Thank you for Dylan for that question. That was awesome. This next question is from Brock. This is going to be the last question, by the way. How did you get into car photography? Favorite car to shoot and favorite types of locations? So how did I get into car photography? I kind of went over that earlier in the video. I was super into fitness. I still am. I started doing photo shoots for clients, and then I shot a client's car, and then now I'm shooting multiple clients every single weekend. So that's how I got into car photography. Favorite car to shoot? Like I said, it was either the Quadrifoglio or the Lamborghinis that I shot, the Huracans that are on my Instagram page if you want to go check out those photos. That was just a surreal day. I haven't really seen a Lamborghini up in person, up close, and it was just cool that those two guys that owned those Lamborghinis were willing to come out on such a terrible day. I mean, it was cold, it was windy, it was like 25 degrees. They shouldn't have even been out there, with their Huracans, and they showed me support, and I really did appreciate it. And we're actually going to do another photo shoot soon. Those guys are super cool owners. If you want to go check them out, like I said, check them out on my Instagram posts. I left their ats in their tags on there. So last question of yours was favorite types of locations. Recently, my favorite types of locations have been like industrial type vibes. I just like all of the leading lines that it provides to the car, and I don't know, it's just really sick. That's like my favorite type of location. I don't really know how to describe it. In Wisconsin, we're very limited to, or at least in southern Wisconsin, we're very limited to like good scenery. So if we can find some really decent locations in Madison or Milwaukee, that's where I'm from. It's just, I don't know, that's what I like, is industrial type locations. All right, so now that we're done filming the Q&A, I would like to get started on this editing tutorial that so many of you on Instagram have been asking for. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start recording my screen here right now, and we're just going to open up a Lightroom right now. The car that I'm going to be editing is the Aimgang GT Type 2. I'll show you what it looks like here real soon. That is not it. That's a Lamborghini. I could edit that, but we're not going to. So we're going to go down here. We're going to go to GTRs. But anyways, this right here is the photo that we're going to be editing. So I'm going to reset this really quick. Alright, so to get started, the first thing I like to do is crop it for Instagram. Now, if I go up to the crop button here, I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on 4x5 because that's what Instagram crops to. So I would like the subject to be, I don't like all this negative space in my image, so I want to crop it just a little bit more. I would say to about, right there is fine. And maybe up a little bit more. And I like to hit this little angle button just so I can see the individual squares to make sure it's centering the image, which it is. And we're going to hit done. So the next thing I like to do is come to my highlights, and we're just going to drop those down quite a bit. I would say to about 70 or so, just to maintain some highlights and details in the whiteness of the car. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring up the details in the shadows, which, as you can see, it's going to bring up a lot of detail in the front of the car here and in the tires, in the wing and such. So we're going to bring that up to about 75. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to desaturate the image almost entirely. So about -40 is fine, but we're going to bring up the vibrance to about +8. This is just my style. I don't really know why I do these sorts of things when I'm editing, but this is what my basic panel generally looks like. I'm going to bring actually some contrast out because I'm going to use the tone curve to add contrast in. So we're going to close that, and we're going to come down to the tone curve. Now, each and every photographer has their own style when it comes to the tone curve. I like to add a little bit of fade in mine. And I'm going to, so this top section is going to be your highlights, and this bottom section is going to be your shadows, and this middle section is like your midtones. So I bring up a little bit of fade in the shadows, and I bring down a little bit of fade in the highlights. As you can tell, looking at the image, it's super flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to see this little quadrant right here. I'm going to use this line, and I'm only going to adjust on that line right there. So I'm going to drag this down to about right there. And as you can see, it really makes it dark. So to counteract that, we are going to drag the highlights back up. Okay, as you can see, and I think right there should be fine. It's all personal preference. You really just have to. It's never the same for each and every edit that I do. It's always different. Now the midtones, you can either drag them this way or this way. So we're gonna drag them about right there. I think, yeah, maybe more over here. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. So that is my S curve. It's not really an S, but that's what most people call it. So that's my S curve. The next thing I'm going to do is bring out some detail in my car because I don't really like to add a lot of clarity. I just think it looks terrible in my opinion. So we're going to keep the amount the same, radius the same, detail the same. Hold Alt or Option on your keyboard. And just make sure that the subject is really sharpened. So I think right around 86 is pretty good. So when you add sharpening to your image, you're going to add a lot of noise or some noise to it. So what I like to do to counteract that is bring this up to about, I'd say about 8. I think is usually where I'm at, depending on how properly exposed the image is. So I'm going to close the detail tab. I don't really do anything in here or in transform or in effect. I might add some vignette at the end, but I kind of like to do that in the Instagram like edit section of my images. So I'm going to close that. I don't really mess with the calibration at all either. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my own individual style. This is how I like to keep my Instagram feed kind of like the same. This is like where every photographer has their own style. So if I go over to my shadows on the color grading panel, we are going to set the hue to 210 and the saturation to 12. That's just my style. I don't know why, that's just my style. If I go over to highlights, we're going to go down to hue, highlights, and we're going to go down to hue, 35 and 12. That's my split tone. And if you click on the balance like slider, you can see if I slide it to the left, it's going to make it really cool. If I slide it to the right, it's going to make it really warm. I want this photo to be very warm, but I also want to keep some blues in the cement here. So I think right around, yeah, maybe right around 40, I guess. I can kind of see some blue in the shadows, but that's my style of color grading. So after that, we are going to start using some graduated filters to draw attention towards the subject. So I'm going to grab the little graduated filter here, and I'm going to draw one up to the car. I would say about right there is fine. Now we're going to drop the exposure to about right there is good. I might adjust this later, I might not. The thing about photography and editing is that you're going to constantly use different tools, and you're never really going to be super organized about it. If anyone's out there is organized, please tell me, and I'll like gladly study their style. But I always find myself jumping back and forth between my tools when I'm editing. So I think right there should be fine. It's not too dark, but it also makes it very moody and dramatic, which I like moody photos. That's my style. So there's that. I'm going to bring up a little bit of clarity in the cement just so I can retain some detail there. But next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw one down to the car. So I'm going to kind of go like this because I want it to follow this line right here of this cement wall. We're going to reset this, and I'm going to drag down the exposure. I would say, yeah, right there is fine. Yeah, that's good. We're going to bring up some clarity as well. That's done. Now, if you look at the before already and the after, you can see the white is really is drawn out, which I will show you guys how to bring that back in a second. But if you look at where your eye is going to, it's really going towards the subject, is it not? I mean, I think it is. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the radio filter because we're going to make this car really pop. So I'm going to drag a radio filter over the car. We're going to turn it so it's covering the car. Go like this, and that should be fine. If I adjust any of the settings, it's going to adjust the outside of the car, so that's going to look terrible. So what we're going to do is we're going to invert it down here. And usually what I do is I hit the little show selected mask overlay, just so I know what I'm editing. And I'm going to adjust the feather to just the car. So we're going to go like that. I'm going to click this off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the exposure in the car. But to counteract that, to keep the car looking natural, I'm going to bring up some contrast to about 40. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so I can see more of the car. I'm going to take some highlights out of the car really quick. But I'm going to bring up the shadows to about 35 is fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring up the whites and really just make this car pop. Yeah, that looks really nice. Okay, and let's see what dehaze does. I kind of just play with some things. So let's bring that up there. And bring some blacks down. It's a little bit too much dehaze. So we'll go about 20. And that should be fine. So I'm going to hit done. As you can see, there's the before, there's the after. A lot of the detail on the car has really been brought out. What I really don't like in this image right now is the amount of color that's in the windshield. So what we're going to do, like I said earlier, we like to saturate the image. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to color, and we're going to bring back or dial down some colors that we don't want. So I really want these rims to stand out. So that is orange. Yep. So we're going to bring up some orange. I'm not going to mess with the luminance at all or anything. I'm going to see what the yellows do. It really brings up some of the cement, so we're going to kind of desaturate that a little bit. There's no real greens in this image, so I'm going to drag those out completely. Aquas tend to stay in the windshield, so I'm going to drag those out completely. Blues, those are in my shadows, so I'm going to keep that to a minimum, so about
44 is fine. The red lines in the front, we're gonna bring those out. So we're gonna bring that up to about 70 as well. Scroll down a little bit. There's a lot of weirdness going on in the windshield, so I want to see if I can fix that with this. No, doesn't really affect it. Bring that out as well. I see some purple or magenta going on right here. I don't really want that right there, so I'm going to drag it out completely. To get rid of some of this glare in the windshield, I got a secret trick for you guys. So if you grab the brush, right, and you click on Show Selected Mask Overlay, and you want to make sure that your flow is probably around 35, I would say. Feathers 100. I'm just going to draw over the, and I'm not going to be too particular about this. I'm just going to draw over the windshield, and I'm going to kind of zoom in here so I can get a better look at what I'm doing. But we're going to take some of this glare out by just lowering the dehaze, or adding dehaze. I don't know what you would call that, but yeah, and then we'll increase this just to kind of smooth things over. Yeah, so there's that. We're going to turn off the mask overlay, and we're just going to go down to dehaze and just bring some of that out and decrease the exposure a little bit. All right, so that looks pretty natural. So there's a quick before and after so far of what we've edited. I think it looks pretty good so far. And one thing we want to do as well is we're going to take another graduated filter, and here's my trick to most of my pictures on my Instagram feed. You see the shadow here, how it kind of bellows or goes in this, I don't know how you call it, but there's a shadow clearly. So the sun's coming from over here. So I'm going to take this graduated filter. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to drag it in the direction of that shadow. Now this is kind of a little too intense, so we're going to go up the exposure on this to about 32. I'm going to bring back some highlights just because it's kind of washing out some detail in the back part of the car here. Maybe zoom out to about 12%, 25% is fine. Yeah, we're just going to make sure none of that is taken out. And I'm going to drag the temperature to about right there. That should be fine. Take down some whites as well. Alright, so if we zoom out, and we kind of just play around with the position of this. I think that's a little too yellow, in my opinion. Yeah, right there. So, hold on, let me go back here. So if we take a look at what the graduated filters have done, I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to turn it on. See how dramatic that just makes the image? If you look up in the top left, you can really see it from afar. Without it, with it, without it, with it. I think that looks great. Now the whites are a little bit off, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my basic panel. And I don't really like a whole lot of clarity in mine, so I'm going to de-clarify it, if that's what you call it. But the whites, I really want those whites to pop, so I'm going to bring up the whites to about right around 25 is fine. Details and the blacks, I'm going to bring those down a little bit to make it a little bit more contrasty. Actually, you know what? We're going to keep those the same. I'm going to add some contrast back into the image. I think right there should be fine. And maybe we'll lower the blacks just a little bit. And I think we're pretty much done. Maybe adjust the exposure one last time. Yeah, that is that's a finished image, boys and girls. So if we close this out, if you hit L on your keyboard, you can do this. You can kind of focus in on your picture, but we're gonna hit L, and here's a quick before, and here's a quick after. Before, after.
So guys, with all that being said and done, that is how I like to edit my photos. This is just one photo in particular. Each photo, like I said, is different. But this kind of gives you an insider into tools that I use to edit photos. Now, what I would normally do is show you how to dodge and burn, but that's just too time consuming and it would take very, very long to film that. But that is one step that I would recommend for anyone looking to edit photos, is definitely dodge and burn. So with all this being said and done, please do me a favor and hit the like button down below. Leave a comment of any questions you would have. If this did help you out, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, as I will be putting out more videos like this in the future. I actually really did enjoy filming this. It actually wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought it would be. So thanks for tuning into the video, guys, and I will see you soon. Peace.